with that being said, more fallout from Obama's words and, his celebrity. I don't want to call them panderers, but now you have multiple celebrities coming out trying to ride Barack Obama's coattails, saying that, well, you know what? I'm not going to step on their words. I'm going to let them speak for themselves.
All right.
Well, it's sad but true. Some of my brothers have been drinking that Kool-Aid.
Oh my God.
And I just hope that they get their minds straight, get their minds right in time for this election. If they're conscious, if they're aware, there's nothing that this other guy can do that's going to put us, not just black folks, but Americans in a better position going forward. So I urge, and I got to give credit to President Obama, because he's been going really hard on the brothers. Some might think too hard, but I don't think so. We got to wake up, and don't go for the okie doke, the flim flam. Can't do that. We got to support our sister.
And let me tell you something, Mr. Spike Lee, who has made your living because of black people. And you turning around and getting pimped out by the Democratic Party and got the nerve to come on MSNBC talking about, I think my brothers are drinking the Kool-Aid. I think these people need to rethink the choices that they are making. Well, let me tell you something, because maybe you don't live in the real world like the rest of us. The average American makes around $50,000 a year, Mr. Spike Lee. Is that what you make? Why don't you try living on that? Why don't you try feed your family on $50,000 a year? Why don't you try taking that just for 1 month, divide $50,000, subtract the taxes, and use that to feed your family. Use that to pay your rent or your mortgage. Use that to support yourself and your family for 1 month, Mr. Spike Lee. For 1 month, I want to see you do it. And then try to come back and tell somebody else that they drinking the Kool-Aid.
Ooh, okay. Shout out to content creator. Hey, Heidi Joy on TikTok. I'm gonna throw it to you, Dante. I'm gonna let you have this one. I'm gonna let you have the first shot at this one. Go for it.
There's one thing I really just don't understand. It's just like how people like Spike Lee does something like this. Just like how Heidi Joy said, "Hey, you getting pimped out by the Democratic Party," and which is like, I mean, you can't be further from the truth when you say that. But it's just like, how do you? Would I say sell out? Nah, that's not the necessary term. But it's just like you really thought, like, after all this time of you building yourself and all that, and you were like really for the people and all that, like all the acting gigs you got, all the I know you're a hardcore Knicks fan and everything, all the stuff you did, and now you go ahead and do this.
Yeah, like she said, he pimped out his credibility, right? He pimped out his integrity. For what? And then to also combat that and say, I don't think Barack Obama went hard enough on black men. Really? Here's a black woman absolutely cooked you, Spike Lee. I bet you he won't say one word. He's going to take his little funny looking glasses and he's going to sit them on the table and he ain't going to say a word. It's, you know what? This is the thing. I don't even think he's being paid, because none of Kamala's policies impact him or his wealthy friends, just like Barack Obama. Nothing that she is going to implement impacts them. Right? Like the woman said, most Americans' average salary is, I think it's below $50,000. No, let's say Spike Lee makes $5 million a year. Do you think any of Kamala's policies impact him? No. He's just pimping out his credibility, his integrity, to try to get her elected so he can go to the White House and meet with her, and he can go to these luncheons and these fundraisers and just be sitting there shaking hands and taking pictures with the president. That's it. That's all. He's not even getting paid. But he will pimp out his integrity. Heidi Joy, thank you for that term. Okay. With that being said, we're not gonna slow this train down. We're gonna keep it moving. So Heidi Joy, she Pastor Jamal Bryant, she has a word for Mr. Pastor Jamal Bryant. So here we go.
You said something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Yeah. Full stop.
And Mordecai was man enough to know that in order for me to be a man, I got to know how to support a woman. Something is wrong with brothers who don't know how to support a sister.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
It was a sister that raised you. It was a sister that taught you how to read. It was a sister that taught you how to bathe yourself.
In the context of the vice president, were you trying to send a message?
That we've got to be able to vote that misogyny is still real in our community. We've got to address it head on and not act like it doesn't exist.
And now we got Pastor Jamal Bryant, and these people have the nerve. Pastor Jamal Bryant talking about it's something wrong with brothers who don't support a sister. It was a sister who raised you. It was a sister who taught you how to read. Man, you need to stop and focus on what God called you to do, which is correct the house of God. You need to focus on that instead of trying to tell black people what they ought to do, how they ought to do it, and when they ought to do it. You need to be quiet and get yourself back in line. Make sure you living according to God's word before you try to correct black people.
Okay. Heidi Joy, shout out to her. We will definitely include her TikTok in the description. So Dante, I know this is slightly out of your realm, right? Like, being a young man, 25 years old. Do you know who Pastor Jamal Bryant is?
Not one clue.
Huh?
No.
Because when she said, get your house in order, make sure your affairs are in order, it was interesting. And, she seems like a nice, respectable lady. She didn't really go into details. So Pastor Jamal Bryant, right? Here he is. Apparently, man, these pop-ups are crazy. So apparently Pastor Jamal Bryant's private life, as we can see here, has gotten him in all types of public trouble. His promiscuity ended his marriage, led to allegation that he impregnated a 17-year-old girl, and most recently involved him in a custody and child support battle with LaToya Odom, the mother of his youngest child. In 2015, Odom sued Bryant, demanding child support. Bryant acknowledged that the child was his and said that he had been paying child support in an attempt to handle matters outside of court. But when Odom kept harassing him, he stopped making payments and left it up to the judge to decide. So, Dante, that is a little bit of background on Pastor Jamal Bryant. He even says he remained silent on the controversy, and then he ultimately said, God ain't finished with me. So, So that is who Pastor Jamal Bryant is. As you know, some of these pastors, they like the what's the word I want to look for? What's the word I'm looking for? They like to associate with their congregation. They like to they like to be hands-on with their flock. So what do you got to say before I go on my little diatribe here? What do you have to say about this?
Leave it to a pastor to both tell you and show you what not to do. To show you what, and also show you what's morally wrong. Like that's insane. And it'd be like kind of hypocritical about it, because it's like you do, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, that's just weird, because it's just, he's like say like a guy's supposed to lead by example, do all this good and all that, and then you end up doing this, and then
oh no, go ahead.
I was like, and then you like not really double down, but then you just like God ain't finished with me yet. It's like, what is that? What you mean?
But what did he say? Support a sister, right? Isn't that what he said? Isn't that what he said? Support a woman? Like we don't know how. So I'm not really into the whole gossipy thing, but was he supporting his wife or was he supporting his mistress?
Exactly.
I'm just trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And the fact that the age, I know, and there's 3 articles that I looked at, and there's actually a great YouTube video a woman did kind of dissecting Pastor Jamal Bryant. Yeah, we'll include that also in the description. It's just I don't really understand how he's coming out saying that black men, there's something wrong with us or whatever, and you got to learn how to support a woman and all this other stuff. But his hands aren't clean.
That's what I'm
His
saying.
hands are not clean at all. His hands are all dirty, and he's pointing his finger at us, trying to tell us what to do. Get your own house in order. Like Heidi Joy said. Like, come on, man. We ain't going for this. Spike Lee said, we ain't going for the flim flam. We ain't going for it.